Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of our Comic-Con video. And this is where we're going to be talking about our different...
I think I'm ready. We're going to do con, right? We got part 2 going on. Let me make sure
What is this?
Well, we're doing our con video. This is what I wear when I go to the con. You know that, because, you got to be prepared. It's like, you got to have your pass for your lanyard, for your passes, and then I got my program, of course, and then this, because you gotta have bags for when you get stuff, right? So I got some more bags in here, and then there's some food, some water, maybe some an empty bottle in case the line for the bathroom's like really long, like that one time.
Really?
Yeah. What?
I mean, is this just a little over? Why the binoculars?
Well, because like sometimes I see something over there, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go. That's a lot of people. If I'm standing there looking at the floor, I'm like, yeah, okay, no, that's really cool. I'll go over there now, but I don't.
You planning on getting a lot of sun? Let's just, the hat's gotta go. No.
Okay.
No.
All right, I got a plan for that one. Yeah, that's better. All right. Stay tuned.
So we are back with a slightly less prepared husband.
Always be prepared. Didn't you listen to Scar from Lion King?
Don't worry. We took our Disney movie apparently really to heart. So, Comic-Con as a married couple. Now, technically, we have always gone to Comic-Cons together. Our very first con was definitely more comic related. And then we've been to some slightly larger, more kind of celebrity based. We've done a variety. Mm-hmm. We have not been to like the New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con yet. Give us time.
We've not been out of the state to Comic-Con yet. Somebody wants to go to Sweden now.
I want to go to Sweden. I want to go to everywhere.
But yeah.
I have goals.
We're starting small.
Lofty goals. So, a couple things about, our experience as a married couple, because technically our very first Comic-Con that we went to, Scott was the one that was interested in the comic books and I wasn't at the time. It's not that I disliked comics, but I had told you all that I had kind of read an X-Men comic book, got way in over my head, and then kind of ran away, not sure what to do next, kind of where to jump in. So when we went to the Comic-Con over in Bull City, it was still really intimidating to kind of piece together where to jump in, what stories to start with. There were so many books, which was great. So for me, it was overwhelming. For Scott, it was home. But I will say the things that I absolutely loved were the artist alley. So at least I could kind of get into that. There were so many new writers, new artists, but there was an art print that we grabbed because we had to. It was a Deadpool print, and there's a very specific SNL Christmas time parody that has something in a box that they put a Deadpool twist on it, and then it said "Elf Yourself," and it had the unicorn sweater, and it was just like the combination of all things made me crack up, and both of us were staring on kind of the other side of the aisle at this print, and both of us were like, we must have this. So every single Christmas season we break out our Deadpool, and my family is typically pretty horrified, but we laugh and we love it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that impressed both of us at that first con too, because it was the first con for both of us, by the way, was that we really appreciated the accessibility of the artists and the creators. I mean, it wasn't like 50 feet away behind a velvet rope stuff. You were standing there across a 3-foot wide table talking to the guy whose work you were like, oh my God, this is awesome. And he was talking to you just like anybody, not giving you a sales pitch, which was awesome, I think.
Yes.
Really liked the Bull City con over in Durham for that reason. Also, I will say that even though it was the first con experience for both of us, for those of you who may be wondering what it's like to take a significant other to their first con, even if you've been to others, my only advice is be a co-participant, not a tour guide.
Yes.
Let them experience it for the first time themselves. kind of get a map, a layout of some things you think they might be interested in based on what you know about them. But other than that, if you let them just kind of experience it and go with them, I think they will learn and possibly find something to love about it or not on their own. And then it becomes something you share together as opposed to something you made them do.
Well, and I'd actually apply the same advice to family members. So
Absolutely.
we have brought my mother, who is certainly not in her 20s, and she loved it.
Doesn't look a day over 30.
I'll make sure to tell her that. So when we took my mom to Comic-Con, and she's been to 2 now, she absolutely loved it. She loved the atmosphere. She loved how welcoming it was. She really appreciated the panels. My mom went right down memory lane with some of these, amazing stories. She was there especially for the Star Trek. So she got to see William Shatner,
She's a Trekkie.
She was the original series Trekker.
Yeah.
So my mom was in hog heaven.
Yes.
But she also really appreciated the artists. The only other thing that I will say is, yes, I did bring my mother to Comic-Con and she loved it. We brought my sister and her children to Comic-Con. So
young children.
She had 3 children with her. The middle child loved it because she saw Disney princesses. And the Disney princesses were willing to take pictures with her, and she thought it was adorable.
And she was dressed as the Flash. And somebody else dressed as the Flash pointed to her and was like, "You go, girl Flash."
So she loved Comic-Con. The older boy, who I thought was going to get more into it, didn't like it because he couldn't interact with all the tables. He wasn't allowed to touch anything.
It was not the place for that age children. They had a separate area upstairs just for children. They would have been fine with it. Seeing all the costumes as they walked in and out of the main floor entrance would have been fine. Taking them down to the main floor, mistake.
And my sister wasn't as thrilled with some of the art that was being displayed because some of it is very bodacious.
You have to keep it in mind the age group that it's intended for and the ages that you have toddling along behind you.
And she did not appreciate some of the horror, what did she call it? Anatomically correct hearts. So keep in mind, if you're bringing younger children, there are definitely more younger children focused things at some of the bigger cons.
And ultimately, you know your own children. You know your own family. If they're totally into it and playing the video games, reading the books, they're going to be fine. If they're not and they know the Disney version, just keep that in mind when you go because there's a Disney section and then there's the other sections.
Well, and if your child is at that certain age where all they want to do is run and break things,
keep them away from the table.
Exactly. Plan accordingly.
So the cool stuff about cons, besides the fact, like if you're not sure about comics or even the pop culture and the movie stuff, you have unique local and nearby artists that present their work at a con that you won't see anywhere else. You don't see it in a box store. You rarely are going to see it even like on a Small Business Friday unless you happen to live in the town they live in and they happen to have a gallery or storefront. Because some of the stuff that we found, I mean, it is so ridiculously cool and unique, and yet I would never have imagined that it was even something that you could find like on Etsy, I guess, maybe.
And at the time,
I wouldn't have known where to look, basically. And it was at the con.
It was at the con. You're supporting a small artist, small business. You're giving someone a chance to sort of live their dream, which is always cool. And you get a chance to actually talk to them about what inspired their art. There was one person who had these really cool, like Edgar Allan Poe-esque little art prints, which we grabbed for then our Halloween decorations.
Exactly.
I mean, there's some seriously cool things.
Yes.
One of my favorite, like, random things, because we've described, you can find chainmail. The woman who was making her own chainmail was seriously cool. We've seen some steampunk stuff there. There was a couple who literally just had a box of gears and were like, we don't know what steampunk is. They looked it up and then they started making it and realized that this was a whole business that they could get into. And they were able to leave the jobs that they hated to then pursue steampunk crafty things, which was awesome. And they traveled to cons. I mean,
it's really cool.
You get some great stories. So
we met a couple like that works with wood.
This is a couple that actually is here in North Carolina in Apex, and they make chopsticks. So this is one of them.
That's so awesome.
It's a dragon. I don't know if it's going to zoom in. There we go.
There it is.
And the wood has this unique pattern. So each set of chopsticks has a different type of wood.
They have multiple choices in the type of wood that you can pick from. The woods have different grains, different textures, different colors as well. The more exotic woods, obviously the chopsticks are a little bit more expensive, but they can put these patterns on different types of wood if you have a preference. We got another set of the dragon.
We did get another set of the dragon.
It's on a different color, different type of wood, and you can see the difference in the color there. So we have a red dragon and a white dragon.
The one thing that was really cool, because we always go Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
And because we went on Friday, they're like, well, if you're going to be here on Sunday, you can place an order. So they had one type of chopstick that I really wanted to sing, so I got to pick my wood, and then they got to etch it in there. So it says Asio Sushi, which for those of you that don't know Harry Potter lingo, that is the spell to summon sushi.
Yes.
I love it.
Which is awesome. We had another one that I did not bring up, or maybe I did. Yep.
And it's,
I am Groot.
No, it says I was Groot.
Yeah.
I'm like, that. So every single time we use these chopsticks,
so wrong, but so
we
funny.
crack up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I never went to Comic-Con thinking I'm going home with chopsticks.
We're going to find chopsticks. Something else we didn't expect to find. So wine glasses, but of course, because of it being a con, we got Doctor Who wine glasses. There's the TARDIS right there.
This is the important thing about this glass.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
yes.
It depends on
how can you tell if Lauren Scott have had a bad day?
The level.
How much of the TARDIS has been filled?
Yeah. Like I said, we normally go to the bottom of the TARDIS is like a normal day. When we start filling up.
This is like, this bad day at work.
Slightly stressful.
Bad day at work and in-laws. Bad day. Just
then
kidding.
just don't talk to me. Just
the dogs tore up something. Yeah.
It's like
cars broke.
Silence, ye humans. I must have my Doctor Who. So awesomeness.
Another awesome, unique find that we found at a con. And as a couple, this is something that we could totally appreciate. Again, you get it. Even if you don't know comic books, we're both kind of novice Doctor Who fans. But at the same time, we saw this and we're both like, oh my God, yes, we need that wine glass. So.
And now every single time we kind of break out the wine glasses, we immediately think of the Comic-Con. And then we have a little bit of fun with
regular wine glasses. And usually my comment is, hey, Laura, you want some wine? Sure. Doctor Who or regular glass? Doctor Who.
So this one was actually our really, really cool, specifically comic related.
Yes.
Now, we've talked a little bit about our fandom of the DC Bombshells. So the gentleman who did the main art is Aunt Lucia, and he was there at the Comic-Con. So this is his art book, The Art of Bombshells.
I bought the book at our local shop because I like the series so much. I saw the book and I thought, I really want to know more about it. And if you flip to some interiors, it not only includes the artwork, but it shows his sketches. And he talks about like how he came up with
the
characters,
styles.
who his first one was, different stuff. There's some sketch work in there that he shows that in different stages. At that point in time, I bought the book because I thought the book was cool. It gave me a lot more background about a series that I liked. Fast forward, he's coming to our local con.
And
Laura saw him on the list of people that was coming. And we took this. You see the little earmarks up top. Right. I was like, can you sign here? And
he did.
And he was so gracious, so awesome. Aunt Lucia, you're a rock star and one of my favorite artists. He signed it. He talked to me about his favorite, why it was his favorite.
We got some art prints
from him. We bought some
him.
prints from him as well that we put up every Halloween because he's got this whole monster series he had done and was selling there.
Like,
ultimately though, stuff like that, again, we shared it. That was kind of a Scott experience, but she helped because she found out he was coming and she knew that I liked his work.
And we got to see his panel, which was a lot of fun. And then of course we have the Halloween prints, which you will see in October.
Yes.
So it was a ton of fun. So one of the best experiences that we had at Comic-Con, this last one specifically.
So my personal story was Aunt Lucia. Laura's personal story
is David Tennant.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Oh my God. We got to meet David Tennant. We got to go to his panel. Well, actually, I got to go to his panel.
She went to his panel. I totally fanboyed out meeting him to get an autograph. Unexpected. Totally not like, hey, yeah, he's cool. I like him. It's Laura's thing. I get up there to where he's standing. I'm like, hi, my name, you're cool. Words. Totally geeked out on him.
It was it was amazing. And his panel, he's the only person that I know of that jumped into the audience. So at the end of his panel, everyone was like, they make the announcement, last question.
Last question.
Well, everyone starts leaving the line. And it's him and Catherine Tate are doing this panel, and they both jump up.
No.
Like, where are you going? What do you think you're doing? And everyone's like, well, it's last question.
Jumped off the stage with mics in hand and said, we're not leaving until we answered all your questions, and walked up. Go.
And they're like,
person.
We have 5 minutes. Go.
How cool is that, though?
So I have pictures, which I'll keep flashing, of David Tennant, like, 6 feet away from me. It was so
If you guys ever
cool.
get a chance to see him anywhere, appearance-wise, go. He's one of my favorite actors. Yes. Before this, now, like, I will watch anything he's in from here on out because he was so cool in person.
So when we were picking what we wanted to get signed by him, I wanted something really, really unique. And technically, because of that panel, I became a fan of Catherine Tate, too, so I did get her signature on here.
There you go.
But I got David Tennant up here, and someday I will get Billy Piper to sign right down there.
And the artist that did these, he was there doing these different records. You can tell where he did the carving for the TARDIS. We have another one that's actually of
Sherlock.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes, and it's like the profile, Deerstalker, and the pipe.
Yeah.
Just something, again, you won't find anywhere. Wouldn't have known where to even look. So
that was just seriously cool.
Very, very cool. I was just going to say that as a couple, a unique perspective that we have and ability that we have at cons is that because we don't she and I agree on a lot, but not everything.
Definitely.
So there are certain things that she likes more. There are certain things that I like more. We're able to kind of divide and conquer as we choose those things, but we're also able to share so much together, and that's unique. I also feel like because we're a couple and we have our different strengths that together combined, we're like Wonder Twin powers. Hello.
Yes.
Come on. And we can totally take a con and experience it in a unique way, but also get the most out of it. We squeeze it for every last little drop that there is.
Yes.
And typically when we come home at the end of each day, we normally go for 3 days. We lay our booty out on a table.
It's so cool.
We admire it. Some of the stuff that she experienced on her own, she shares with me and vice versa. So the con goes on beyond walking out the door. And then for the final day, when we finally have all of our stuff together in one pile on the table, then we get the exhaustion and the, oh my God, wasn't that awesome?
And we start reading everything.
And exactly. We disappear into the books and the artwork and whatever else for days and weeks. But it's so cool to be able to share it with somebody. And on top of that, to have their perspective added to your own, because they'll see it and see something different than what you did, even if you're standing side by side.
Definitely. And there have been plenty of times where I have gone to panels or tried things that I was like, I don't think this is going to be my thing, and vice versa, where I've kind of dragged Scott to panels, and he has found things within those panels to appreciate.
Pleasantly surprised.
There were a couple panels where it was supposed to be someone, and at the last minute they rescheduled, and we ended up becoming fans of the person who was the replacement.
Yeah.
So we have definitely been very, very pleasantly surprised by a lot of the different talent that shows up at Comic-Con.
I agree.
With a lot of the different artists, and it's been a wonderful experience. So I don't think that there's one that we would ever sit there and say it was horrible, we would never go back.
No.
Because every single one has been unique. So getting the most out of it has been a ton of fun. But experiencing it as a couple, and of course, having the freedom within our relationship that if he wants to go to one panel and I want to go to a different one, I don't mind being like, okay, I'll see you afterwards. I'll meet you here before we head down into the main room.
Yep.
So we kind of go with whatever it is that we want to experience and enjoy, and we have an absolute blast. So I hope, maybe other couples out there have had a chance to go to Comic-Con. If you haven't, take your spouse.
Yeah. Find something that they like that you think you have a tie-in at that con coming up.
Yes.
Give them a backstory on it so they have a reason to be interested in what's going to be presented at that con. And just go and see what happens. Because you never know. It could be the beginning of something brand new for you that you share together. It could open up a whole new world to them, and then they take over, and suddenly you're the one going, wait, what? I didn't know you knew that. But either way, it can be positive. Even if it's not and they never go to another con, you at least have the chance to share something that's very interesting to you with somebody that you care about. And if they at least understand that a little better from having gone to a con, it can only help.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll see you there sometime too.
We'll see you there at the
Cons
next
are
con.
back on. COVID,
Yes.
take that. I'm sorry. I'm excited. Can you tell?
Just a little.
A little bit.
Just a little bit excited.
Don't worry. I got my gear. It's right here. I'm ready to go.
So whether you are like Scott level of prepared, or if you are at my point of just like Joelle Jones, we want to hear from you all. Have you gone as couples?
Mm.
Are you bringing family members?
Yep.
And are you going to any cons this year, or are you going to wait until next year when some things kind of clear up a little bit? We love hearing from you all. Thank you, and we are going to be talking to you all again very soon. Have a great day, everyone.